Da-da-da. I always have to do that. Good afternoon, you guys.
No, this is crazy.
This is so exciting. Okay.
It's wild.
So, this is Trisha Hyde.
Hi.
So, if you guys don't know, I think we should probably get into like how we actually met.
Yeah.
Which I don't really even...
It was odd.
It was odd.
It was odd.
Like, okay, so she does Instagram and TikTok,
Yes.
Facebook, all the same things that I do. And so I'm excited to have like a creator on as well.
Yeah. And I feel like in our industry, like we just know people. Like, you know, like, oh yeah, they do what I do.
Yes.
And that's what we knew about each other.
Mm-hmm. And we're both, she's from Michigan, so we're Midwest creators.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of us.
No.
Like it's
I feel like a lot of people are in Nashville and
Yep.
Texas.
California,
Florida. Yep.
all those wonderful warm states.
Wonderful. And we are here. And actually, it's actually a really nice day, but
Like our scenery isn't nice.
no, it's not exciting.
No, and
So
there's
we
no
vacation to.
there's no influencer events
Nope.
ever.
No. You know, the only thing we have here in Minnesota, I feel like, is the Mall of America.
I totally forgot you guys have the Mall of America.
Yeah, it's not.
Like
it's not
how
that
far is
exciting.
that from here?
It's like an hour. You probably passed it on the way coming here
Oh,
from
okay.
the airport.
I have like a video of me passing Minneapolis. I think that was Minneapolis. I don't even know how to say. That's a tongue twister.
Minneapolis, yeah.
Minneapolis,
St.
Yeah.
Paul. We have a lot of weird town names, but I'm actually, when I drive you to the airport tomorrow,
She's my Uber.
I'm the Uber.
So that's like, because Justin, I was like, I'm too scared to take an Uber. Listen, I'm a very independent woman.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to traveling by
Yeah.
myself. I'm like instantly thinking someone's going to take me and I'm gone. I'm done. And I disappear.
Yeah.
Like that's where I go from a 0 to a 10.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, Courtney, is Uber safe around here?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
You're like, do you want me to take you airport? I was like,
Yeah.
please.
I'll take you.
Yeah,
I'll take
so-
you. But we passed the Mall of America on the way there. And if you live in Minnesota, everybody asks, like, do you go to the Mall of America all the time? And I'm like, no.
Okay, but do you go to the mall anymore? In general?
No.
No, you just order online.
Yeah. I went to the mall when I was in Miami, and I was honestly so surprised how many people were there.
Really?
Yeah. Like the Sephora, I was like, okay, excuse me. But I can't go to Sephora anymore. So I used to work at Sephora
Okay.
like 5 years ago now, I think at this point. And I forget that everybody just like sprays perfume. And I'm like, holy cow, do you not all have headaches?
So we have a lot of similarities. I think that's one of the major reasons why we met and then stayed connected.
And we clicked.
yeah,
Yes.
we clicked right away.
Yeah.
Because I can't wear perfume.
Yeah.
Like we're just rocking deodorant every day and that's it.
Yeah. I have certain perfumes that I wear, but if it's like too much, I will immediately get a headache. And I can't deal with a headache all day.
Okay, are you team Soldation Air?
I like their lotion.
I can't even wear lotion.
You can't wear
I can't wear lotion.
Okay, but does the Nivea one count? Because it's like almond. It's not like it doesn't have like okay.
No. Do you know the hand cream that Emily Kaiser's like always in her car? She's like this.
Yes.
You know, I don't even know what that is, but that's the only thing I can wear. Like that's the only thing I can literally put on my body.
That I can do too. There's some scents that I'm like, bleh, can't handle it.
Candles, certain candles, I'm like, no, that one's fine because it has to be like a fresh
Yes.
scent.
Yeah.
If it's not fresh, if it's cinnamon, I'm like,
Oh, cinnamon is my kryptonite.
like
I cannot.
no.
Cannot.
Instant migraine.
Yes.
Instantly.
You know those pine cones when you like during Christmas
Yes.
time and they are straight cinnamon?
No. Immediately no.
Immediately no.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. Okay, so
We're going to do this a lot.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to like, because we have so many similarities that we're going to squirrel down our similarities and like reel it back in there.
Listen, I'm like the queen of a squirrel. Like people will be like, okay, so anyways, what were you talking about? I was like, wait, I don't know.
There's that meme that's like, I was talking about something, but long story short, I'm going to tell you.
Long story short,
we are going to detour at least 7 times to get back to what we were talking about.
Hopefully, you guys can stay with us this whole time.
The views will be nothing because like I lost them a minute in.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know what they're talking about anymore. Yeah. Okay, so long story short, Trisha too is an Enneagram 8, so that we connect a lot on that.
Yes,
I have one friend who's an 8. Do you have any 8 friends?
I need you.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you count?
Yes, I guess I do count.
No, I would say I don't know if she is or not, but my soul cousin Tara, we're very similar in things.
Yeah.
But I think she might be more of a 7. I keep telling him, I told her to take one time. She's like, this thing wanted me to pay X amount of money and I'm not. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, don't take that. Don't take that.
Yeah.
So
there's like the free ones, but
yeah.
I only have one other 8 friend and she's like kind of a different 8 than me.
Yeah, because there's different.
Yeah, you have like your wings or whatever, which you can aim,
what are you winged with?
Well, I feel like I'm stronger with a 7
Me too.
than I am a 9, but I do pull 9 sometimes because I feel like the thing that people think of when they think of an Enneagram 8 is they like to fight, and that is not me.
And neither am I.
Yeah,
like we've talked about this. I am a justice person.
Yes.
So like I'm gonna do what's right, what's fair, right? But I don't like conflict.
No.
But if you put me in the position that I have to stand up for something that is right,
yes,
I'm absolutely going to do that.
Yes. That is huge for me because are you walk in a room and you can read the room very well?
Like 100%.
Because sometimes I walk in a room and I'm like, oh, this is my place. And then I'm like, walk in a different room. I'm like, no. I can
feel energy.
Yes.
I can feel energy. And if someone, we just spent an hour chit-chatting. Like, we're like, oh, talking in the kitchen. I'm like, probably should do the podcast.
We should probably do that now.
Probably do that podcast.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a surface level talker.
Yes.
And that's like what I read in the room. If we are talking about the weather, I'm leaving.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, no, I don't have time for this.
See, that's why I think and maybe you felt this too when you did like photography, which we will get into your background and like how you got here. But when I did makeup, I would come home exhausted because it was so much small chat. Where like, how do you know the bride? How did you guys meet?
Okay.
How did you know what I mean?
When you did makeup for your clients, was it a game for you every single day? Like every single clientele, like figuring out who the bride was, who the family was, who the uncle was, who the aunt was, who the mom was, who the cousin was, and all the family dynamics?
Yes. Because, okay, when you do a trial, like when I'm doing the trial, they tell me everything.
Yep.
They're like, this happened, my sister-in-law. And then I'm like, oh, so you're the sister-in-law. She's like, I'm the sister-in-law. And I'm like sitting there like,
And you're like connecting the dots and you're like, oh, that is the guy that had the affair with the cousin.
Yes. And I'm sitting there like, I love that stuff because my life is just not that exciting. So I'm like, oh, tell me all the things.
I always say like, even today, like I'm just home with my dogs. And so like what my husband does for a living, I'm like, tell me what happened at work today. What's the T? What's the 411? And he's like beige and gives me no details. So I'm like,
oh my gosh, Ethan does the exact opposite. He's telling me like it was a Tuesday morning and it was 30 degrees. I'm like, nobody cares. Get to the point.
The fog was thick.
I know. And then he'll go, oh my God, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, it doesn't make the story any different.
I will say when my husband does have details, I'm like, okay, all right. Like get to the point. Get to the point. Like I don't care about what like motor didn't fit into whatever because I don't know what that is anyways.
Right.
So don't just
see. That's like Ethan. He'll talk about like the medical things, and I'm like,
no. Yep.
Over my head.
I got nothing.
Over my head.
Yep.
Okay, so let's kind of get into your background. So how did you meet your husband?
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I feel like I just kind of put all this together, like literally this year of like where I'm at. My career has really stemmed so much from my childhood. So growing up, I played softball, which we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So I played softball from 8 to 22 years old. And it's all I knew. Like every weekend we were at a ball field playing softball and I loved it. Like it was my childhood. And it's all I knew.
Wait, sorry, back.
Yeah.
One quick question. Do you have how many siblings?
I have 2 sisters.
2 sisters.
And I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I think that's why I'm an Enneagram 8.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, weird because I'm the baby. Yeah. And my sister would always boss me around though.
Oh.
And I was always like, you can't tell me what to do.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
So that's where that I feel like came from. But yeah.
So I was the oldest. My middle sister were actually only 18 months apart. And so
my sister's 18 months apart too.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And how is your sister's like personality compared to yours?
100% different.
100%. And
like literally, if you were to take me and like do a like just a 360, not a 360, a 180, like that's her.
Yeah.
Just
we like
so opposite.
We are complete opposite, but yet like I mean best friends growing up. And she was my catcher.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So and we played ball together. We always played on the same team, and my dad coached us, which we'll talk about that too. But even like in high school, I was the yearbook editor, and I was always like that techie, like nerdy person. And like I helped with like the school website, and like I took all the like sports photos at the games.
I was going to ask you if you took the pictures.
Yeah, I was like that nerdy person. So going into college, I actually went into pre-med. So I went to the university.
What?
Yeah. So I was really into Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's everybody's like, so why didn't pre-med work out for you? We're like, well, I realized it's not like Grey's Anatomy.
Not at all.
So, I'm from a really small town.
Yeah.
Smaller than the one I live in, but I only live 20 minutes from my small town.
Okay. Yeah.
So
small town, we're talking.
I graduated with 40 kids.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I like to tell people I graduated 7th in my class.
You're like out of 40.
And they're like, oh, wow, she's really smart. I'm like, so smart.
Super.
They don't need to know it's out of 40.
Yeah.
So when I I got a softball scholarship to go play at the University of Toledo.
Okay.
And again, softball's all I knew.
Right.
That's all I did. And so like, I just knew that I wanted to go play college softball.
And you were a pitcher.
I was a pitcher.
Yeah.
And we're a different breed. Like pitchers are different. And so when I went to Toledo, my freshman year, like I was just trying to find my groove. I was in the wrong degree.
Yeah.
And I barely made it eligible to play in the spring because pre-med is no joke.
Yeah.
Realize that I'm actually a creative brain. Like ironically, the photography, design, all that stuff. So I switched at the end of my freshman year and went into teaching because I was like, I'm going to get my teaching degree and then I'm going to go be an art teacher.
Oh, yep.
And then that fall I got hurt.
Okay.
So I was like lifting way too much in the weight room and not getting all, probably my coaches are like watching this.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Yeah.
It's a blessing that I got hurt, but at the time it was devastating because again, I've never been hurt in softball. Like I never dealt with an injury. And if I would have rested, I probably would have been fine. But D1 athletics is no joke.
Right.
And when people, like I hear parents, because now I'm a coach. So now, and I hear parents talking about like, oh, like my kid's good enough to play Division I. I'm like, dude, did they want to go play Division I or do you want them to go play Division I? And
I think that's huge in sports right now.
Oh.
Where I'm like, are you like, is this your dream or is it their dream? Where?
And it was 110% my dream. And I think because I was my parents' firstborn of like navigating this situation, they like figured it out when they got to my younger sister. Yeah. But like, I really wanted to play Division I softball. Like that was my dream. Yeah. So when I got hurt, I just couldn't like.
And you're an all or nothing person.
I'm an all or nothing. I give it 110%. Yeah. At everything I do. And really, I always stem back to like my sports background, just like what my parents like instilled in me. Yeah. So, long story short, I had to medically disqualify. And
what was it that was hurt? Was it your arm or what?
It was first it was like, I had like muscular dislocation. Oh. So like I had to go in and like basically my shoulder was just like sliding around in there. Yeah. And they had to go in and like tighten it down. And then they wanted me to like hurry up and get back because they wanted me back. And I couldn't, like I rehabbed too quickly. I had so my previous coaches got fired and I got new coaches in. Oh. And it was like, it was wild. Yeah. And at that point in time, they're like, you're going into your junior year. You already used up your red shirt. Like you can medically disqualify and all you have to do is work in the like sports athletic, like where they sell like jerseys and gear. Yeah. And you only got to do that 6 hours a week. So I took that opportunity. They finished paying for my scholarship. Okay. And because of that, though, that's how I met my husband, because all my friends were obviously my teammates and I lived in a softball house. And so, and I got into partying. Like, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat. I never partied in high school. Yeah. Because my dad's like, if you want a scholarship, you can't party, you can't drink, you can't do this. Yeah. And so we didn't do that. And so I got into partying and had a good time. Mm-hmm. But like, I didn't have anything else to do. Right. And then after like that kind of got old because they were like, my teammates were gone on the road and there was just me. Yeah. So I started going home and I have like all my hometown girlfriends and all my hometown friends. And at that point, I like went through a really, like I have never told this, but I dated a guy from 8th grade until like my sophomore year of college. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That's okay. So when you broke up, did you break up with him?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, it's just not.
Like, it was just like, it's hard because it's also what shaped me into this person I am today. And I have like no hard feelings. Yeah. Of the situation. Like he was my best friend growing up. Yeah. So it was like hard. I was really close with his family. Yeah. And I still like love his family dearly. But it's just one of those things like you're stupid and you grow up together and you make like how many stupid decisions did, we all make growing up. Yes. Yeah. But also like it caused insecurity problems. And so I really struggled with that, honestly, until I found my husband. Yeah. And then, so anyways, I started coming home because I had nothing else to do on the weekends, hung out with my hometown friends. And I told like my best friend, Katie, I was like, Katie, I need to find like a good boy, like a good old boy. Yeah. And I made this checklist of like everything that I needed.
How old were you?
Like 21, 22.
Okay.
So I was like, I want a good old boy. Yeah. And I dated some like losers in between there, like rebounds. And I just like, I never dated anybody really. So making that list and she's like, oh, my husband works with, his name's Hydro.
You're like, huh?
And she's like,
he sounds like a good boy.
Yeah. He's like, he drives a truck and it's lifted. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, let's connect. Right. And so I think he got my phone number. He started texting me, but Justin's 5 years older than me. Yeah. So I was like, okay. And I'm like, he's cute. And she's like, it's fine. But I got to tell you something. He's been married, divorced, and he has a kid. I'm like, immediately no.
You're like, wow, you should have led with that.
But so started talking to him. And honestly, I think he knows this. Like I just started talking to him to like feel the void. Yeah. Yeah. But then like I ended up liking him. Yeah. And I liked him because mostly one, he's really funny. Yeah. I tell my husband all the time, like even because he does YouTube and I'm like, you don't even show half of your personality. Like, yeah. And he's just getting his groove on. Like he's just coming into it. But I'm like, you're so funny.
I think one of the most attractive things somebody could have, man or female, it doesn't matter, is you're funny.
You're funny.
All of my friends have such good personalities, but they're all freaking funny. And I love that.
Like when I'm with my girlfriends back home, like it's the type where like we don't even have our phones out half the time. Yeah. Like we almost forget to take our group picture and we don't get together all the time. Yeah. It's like, every once in a while, but because our conversations are so good. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like we are laughing our asses off all the time.
I love that. Yeah. But I always say in the relationship that I'm the funny one, Ethan.
So
Ethan's such a chill. Like he'll randomly say something funny, but he's not just like funny. Yeah. I mean, he's just like I'm the funny one.
So it's funny because I don't know, like one of the kids asked like a while ago, like, why did you marry mom? And he's like, because she's funny. And I'm like, you think I'm funny? He's like, I've always thought you're funny. I'm like, I think you're funny.
You're like that. We're attracted to that.
So clearly, yeah. Like
and I'm super sarcastic. So some of the times when I meet somebody new, I think they think I'm being serious, and I'm hardly ever
serious.
Like, unless we're having like a really good conversation like this. But I'm so sarcastic. And then some people are like, she's mean.
Do you walk away from conversations like, did I offend them?
Yes. Oh my God. All the time. One time, yeah. I have a lot of stories about that because I just
and then you work yourself up and you have anxiety for the rest of the day.
And I'm like, you know what? I should text that person. Like, I hope they're not mad at me.
And then you're like, hey, I'm sorry that in point whatever conversation that I said something about your grandma. I really didn't.
I was just kidding. I'm really sarcastic.
And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, okay, never mind.
Just kidding.
Now I look like a bigger loser.
It's bigger. You make it bigger in your head than like what the actual person thinks. Yeah. You know, you leave in a conversation like, was that good or was that not?
Because like, I don't care if I'm liked, but I don't want to hurt someone's feelings.
Right. I would never want to make somebody feel some sort of way.
Like I always want to make people like, sit down, like, let's talk, let's have a conversation. Like I always want people to feel welcomed.
Right.
Yes. And when I feel like I don't give off that vibe, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Or if you're like in a mood and somebody meets you and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, like,
well, are you an extrovert or are you an introvert extrovert?
Introvert extrovert.
Same. Like I have to charge my battery. Like I give you credit because you just got back. And then you have like me in your home. Yeah. Because when I come home from travel, I'm like, let me rot in my bed. Yeah. No one talk to me. I can't wear makeup.
You are a special friend. So if it was like, so I would be like, I don't know, this is too much. But I was like, no, I'm
like, I give her a lot of credit because when I get off a plane, like I fly home tomorrow. Yeah. I'm like, when I get off a plane, like, I'm like, let me rot in my bed. Yeah. No one talk to me. I only want my kids. I only want my dogs.
I got good sleep though, too.
Oh, yeah.
My good sleep has a lot to do with like my energy the next day, too.
110%. And Alani's. We both have a high addiction to Alani's. Yeah. High addiction.
I love them. I saw your peach when I picked you up at the Airbnb.
Like, what's your favorite flavor of Alani?
Well, I go back and forth, man. I like peach, but I love witch's brew.
Oh, it's so good. Did you almost get sick of witch's brew in the fall though?
Almost, yeah.
It was a little much at sometimes.
They sent me a case, and then I bought a case, and then they sent me another one, and I was like, okay, this might be just like a little much because Austin starts drinking them.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, he drank my last one. He's one of those kids. Like, you can't drink the last one.
So Evelyn does that. Evelyn will take like drinks. I'm like, first of all, honey, you are like your mother. You don't need no energy. Yeah. Like we thrive on just going. Like if the to-do list is not accomplished, we are like anxiety.
Yes.
And that's her.
For sure. Okay. So back to the story. Squirrel. Like, turning back around. Yep.
So met my husband.
Yes. Started dating.
So me and Justin dated for 3 months.
3 months.
And then I moved in with him. Mm-hmm.
And when you started dating, he had a kid who was like
3. Yeah, okay. Michaela was 3. So started dating and
moved in after 3 months.
Yep. Moved in. Great. Like I look back now, I'm like,
what did my parents think of that? I'm sure you knew.
They did actually. My dad was like, are you sure you're making the right decisions? And I'm like really close to my dad. Yeah. And he's like, are you sure you're making these right decisions? Like, you're moving awfully fast. And I'm like, I don't want to live at home. So that was it. Like, yeah. And now I'm very much a long-term, like if I make this decision, what are the consequences? Mm-hmm. But back then at 22 years old, man, I was just like, yeah, what's today? Monday? Cool. Yeah. You know, like not thinking long term. Mm-hmm. Not that I regret it, but looking back, you know, now that you have children, you're like, what would I say to my child?
Yeah. I think about that all the time with like Ethan and I getting married at 18.
Yeah. You guys started young.
Yeah. And I'm like, Austin's 16. Mm-hmm. If he took my track, how would I feel about him getting married at 18?
It's wild.
Like my niece is 17 and I'm like, Danielle, she could get married next year if she wanted to. She's been dating this guy for a long time too. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you look at them as differently. Like you're still a baby.
Yeah.
And
18.
you
and Eve have known each other forever.
Yes.
As well.
I met him when I was like 6.
Right.
And he was like 9 or so. So we've known each other for a really long time. But it's just our families are so different too. Mm-hmm. So moving in and like trying to figure out each other that takes such a long time. I feel like.
And I know you married opposite of yourself, and I
yes.
married opposite of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes, well, me and Justin been to marriage counseling.
Yeah.
And so I totally believe in counseling. I think like,
oh my gosh, it helps so much.
It's
honestly.
And especially with our personalities, because we are very much like a black and white. This is how it's got to be.
Yes.
And you're like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
I know.
It's hard.
It's hard when you are like, I say what I mean kind of person.
Yep.
I am 100% in. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
I'm loyal to a T.
Yes,
like
yes.
if you are in, so you have a small circle. I have a very small circle.
Yeah.
And I think that's crazy because you have this following online, so you think your circle's really big. It's actually not. Like there's only very few people in my life that really know the details of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm loyal. Like if you like say like we're in a group and someone's talking bad about you, I'm like, do you even know Courtney? Like I will be that person and be like,
yes.
I will not allow them to talk bad about people in my circle.
Yeah.
Like it will not happen.
Yes.
Because that's my personality.
Me too. And I will be like I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that you're going to be talking. Like if somebody's like, oh, Rachel, I'm like, no.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
You know.
So also I feel like with friendships, and I don't know if this is with you too, but like I will be friends with somebody way longer than I necessarily feel like I should or would want somebody to be because I'm so loyal. Like it's hard for me to like let go.
Yeah.
When I know like
breakups are hard.
Yeah.
Breakups are really hard.
I've had a couple and
I've had too.
They're really hard to be like, oh, I got to let this go.
Because we're not middle people.
Yeah.
We're not like, we're all in.
Yeah.
So it's not like, we're like, yeah, I'm friends with, like, no, like, oh, I'm friends with, like, yes. We're acquaintances.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Does it take you a while to like warm up to somebody? Like if you're meeting a new friend that you never met before, like let's say at the gym.
Yes.
I mean, I know you grew up in a small town. So did I.
Yeah, it does. It takes me a minute to like warm up. I mean,
and fully trust.
I don't trust anybody. I have major trust issues.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
And I think that stems from my background though.
Yeah.
Like with growing up and like having the relationship that I did, I think that I just don't. I always think people don't like me off the bat.
Yeah.
Or like,
same.
It's weird. I don't know. I think people not out to get me, but like not.
Why do I feel like I'm like, is somebody trying to use me for something?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like, what do they want from me?
What do they want from me?
Did they like me for me, or did they like me because they
like
me?
So I was telling, because I was like I call them the five dudes,
yes.
But like Justin and the YouTube, like the side by side blog boys, I was hanging out with them, and I was telling them like how I'm scared to take it. And I was like, well, why didn't you just ask Courtney to take you to the airport? I'm like, well, I don't want to inconvenience her.
Yeah.
And then you offered. I was like, yes, please take me to the airport.
Yes.
Because like I don't want you to ever feel like I'm using you, or like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I get that.
Squirrel.
Again, sorry. Okay. So when did you got pregnant?
Yep.
After how long of dating with Justin?
It's like a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Close. Maybe not that much, but yeah, a year and a half. Yeah, I was 23 when I got pregnant.
Okay.
So yeah, because I started dating when I was 22.
So she's how old?
11.
11. Okay.
Yep. Evelyn's 11. And like at the time, it's like the scariest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my life, we're not married, whatever. And now it's like I remember my dad, he's like, I knew this would happen. And my mom's like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. And so excited. And I'm just like, had this mixed emotions. My mom's excited. I can tell my dad's disappointed. And it's
Are
like,
your parents still together?
yes,
They are.
and
okay.
they've been together since they were like 18 and 19.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's like, I don't know. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
my parents too. They got married. Well, my mom was like 20.
Yeah.
So right around the same time.
So that's the thing. Justin comes from a blended family. Obviously, we are a blended family, and I come from my parents together. So that has been an adjustment for me, learning things like understanding situations, adjusting, and then also I still have 3 kids, to raise. So, but yeah, so we got pregnant, and she was 8 months old. I got in a really bad car accident. When you have the baby, everybody's like, this is the best blessing ever.
Yeah.
And we weren't married yet. Like we had her. We kind of like, I was like, obviously I wanted to be married because I have a child with him. But you don't really, like, back then, are you really like thinking of, like,
right.
What's marriage, right?
Yeah.
And when she was 8 months old, I got in a really bad car accident. I walked away from it, literally like scratches, but it was like a horrific car accident. Like I should have died.
Were you by yourself?
Yes. So I had a drunk driver hit me from behind at 8:30 in the morning. I was heading to Starbucks, by the way.
A drunk driver at 8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning. Wow. Yeah. So I could go into details, but
yeah,
it's like one of those things where I was like, you're alive. Just count your blessings and move on with life. Because I should have, like, I could have sued him. It was, but Michigan's no fault. Whatever.
Minnesota's too.
Is it really? I didn't know anything about that until that whole situation.
It's like when we got hit.
Oh yeah.
Recently, like rear-ended, we didn't hit anybody in front of us, even though we got rear-ended. So luckily it was like fully this guy's fault. It's like if we would have rear-ended the person in front of us, then we would have been at, which I think is so wild to me.
So wild.
I'm like, but they hit me first.
Right. Right. So when that happened, I think, because my friend Katie's like, so the rumor is we saw Justin walking out of Silverberg's and the other day. So like,
is that a jewelry?
Yeah. And she's like, I just want to let you know. Thanks, Katie.
Be prepared.
And it's like, those are the things that stick in my mind. And so I kind of thought like, okay, he either went and looked at a ring, like, and we talked about, like, we gandered upon rings.
Yes.
And so I kind of
Can I ask how long he was married before?
Yeah, I think he was married, like, it wasn't long. No, it wasn't a year.
It wasn't a year. Okay.
Nope, it wasn't a year.
I was thinking in my head maybe a couple, but.
And he, here's the honest God truth about my husband. I call him my beige husband, like, because he doesn't share a lot of details. When he does, it's usually about, like, stuff I'm like, yeah, get to the point, And he's like, and he's like, he tells me all the things not relevant, but it's relevant to him because that's what he cares about.
Right.
So my husband is like, you can tell him his secret and he will take it to his grave.
Yeah.
Like, he is one of those people. He's also like one to never talk poorly about anybody. And I love that about him.
Yes.
And he just always sees the good in people, but he's also like a jokester and no one ever takes him seriously because he's just like Mr. Comedian.
Yeah.
So, and he's just not drama. Like she's just not drama. But, so I don't know. I want to say I know details about his previous marriage, but it's not something we ever really talked about when we first started dating.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't dive into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's good. And he didn't want to know anything about my previous relationship. Is that wild?
Yeah, because so it's so different for us because we were literally each other's first of everything. I mean, we had high school boyfriend, girlfriends, but it wasn't like, who cares? Right. You guys kissed.
He was very much like, take me as is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take you as is. And it was like day one of
you did.
And a fresh start. Yeah. And so again, I talked about, like, I had insecurity issues and like, he very much, this let me be me. My whole life I was told, like, Trisha, you don't need to say everything that's on your mind. Like, I know I'm opinionated, which if you follow me on social media, you know this. But like, he very much just let me spout off at the mouth and just do my thing, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes he's like, stay out of it.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Ethan will too. Like, I really appreciate somebody and I will like think of you so much higher if you're like, Court, whoa. slow down. It's not that big of a deal. Like if somebody's checking me and I'm like, I don't want to be like bulldozing anybody.
Yeah.
So if Ethan's like, babe, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're probably right.
Right.
Unless I'm like, really.
Yeah. Justin's very much like that. Very much.
I love that.
So yeah, he proposed a couple days after that car accident and was like, yeah, so you almost died and I realized that I don't want to lose you. And we got married 5 months later.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was like a quick wedding.
Yeah, but I was a wedding photographer, so we kind of like skipped a chapter.
Did you like when did you get married, like season wise?
Winter, 2014 winter.
That's that's like a, if you're Midwest, like in the wedding industry, that's when you get married.
Yep. So we skipped a whole chapter. I graduated Toledo and with my art degree.
Your art degree.
And really concentrated in photography.
Okay.
But like what I did with being a photographer really didn't have anything to do with my art degree.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I knew how to run a camera. That's what it taught me. So got married in the winter. And then we were like, well, I mean, Evelyn's one. And it was kind of like, well, do you want to just like get the baby thing over with?
Yeah.
And so we just got pregnant with Bodhi right away. And that time too, so I, graduated with my art degree, started doing photography. And in about 2013, my photography business like really started to, Facebook, the power of social media. And I was posting photos, doing my thing. And I was like a wedding, newborn, family photographer. And I mean, this is like when the algorithm didn't suck on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, algorithm didn't actually exist. It was just like you posted on Facebook, right?
Yep.
So posted all my pictures on Facebook, 2013. So I had Bodhi, got married in 2014, had Bodhi in 2014. We bought our house in 2014.
Holy cow.
It was foreclosed. And so it was like a dumpster fire inside, completely remodeled it.
Yeah.
And that was like super hard on our marriage. Like we were talking about this earlier. We were house broke.
Yeah.
Like we bought a house, like, and you're like, yeah, I can afford it. Like reality, no, we could not afford it. So I had to dive into my career to make money.
Yeah.
And like, I don't say this, I don't talk about it often because I don't really like the mother I was. But at the same time, like I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
For us to survive. And I went back to work after I had Bodhi. I actually shot a wedding 39 weeks pregnant. Yeah. And it was really, really hard.
And photographers, I am always amazed at because like with makeup, I'm there at 6 a.m. and I leave at 1 or noon. Yeah. You're there all day. And not only that, then you have to go through all of the pictures and you edit and you do... It's wild. So much work.
It's a lot. And so I went back to work. So I had Bodhi, like I shot a wedding at 39 weeks. 4 days later I had him. Wow. And then I went back to work when he was 3 weeks old. Wow. Like literally put him in daycare.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Like I look back and I'm like, what were you doing? But I was doing, like right now it's like very much like, okay, I'm not trying to start a war in the comments, but I do that.
Yeah.
The homesteading life. Like I gave up the, like, it's not worth it. Like the hustle culture and like the influencing, like they want the slow living, simple life. Like I totally get, but reality, like that's not reality for mothers in this economy. Do you know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
You need 2 incomes in a household.
Yeah.
And like, I understand it, but there's like a lot of like influencers. I feel like they've given up this, like the hustle life, which I have too, in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But you can't, like, give it up. I had to grind. Like, I had to grind and grow my business to have the business I have today.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And I feel like going through that, it just show your worth ethic.
Right.
Of being able to, like, because a photography business and what you do now and, like, what I do.
Yeah.
Nobody's telling us what to do.
No.
We have to do it all. So we're coming up with like, okay, here's content here. I found this. I found that. Yeah. So your worth ethic, it just shows how hard of a worker you are.
Right.
Which I feel like is.
And I'm not saying like this, but like they don't understand, but I feel like it's a false idea of like they didn't have to grind to get here.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
But a lot of people who are following you now didn't see
the grind.
Yeah. So like, all of like your friends or my friends, they saw before of like me doing YouTube when it was like Nevaeh was 1.
Right.
So that's how many years ago that you're like.
And we both come from large friend groups. Like I do have like a good set of like, I have a good set of girlfriends at home. I have like my soul cousin. I have like, I call where like just different, like mostly a lot have came when I met Justin. Mm-hmm. He had a good friend group.
Good.
Like, and so I met a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So I like have really good friends at home, but like they have, I'm sure your friends have saw this.
Yes.
Like,
oh yeah, that's all it is. And so I think a lot of people have this misconception of, oh, everything's just so easy for you. You have all these followers, you have that, but they didn't see the before you of you working up all the way to that point.
And I feel like everybody finds like who they are. Like I love my 30s because I feel like I really have found who I am.
Gosh, yes.
As have everybody else. But the difference between me and someone that's not online is you actually witness me finding myself, where like other people got to do that behind closed doors.
Yes.
And I'm not saying like, well, you're lucky here. I'm just saying like we're all human. Yeah. And we all are trying to find ourselves, and we've all had growing pains, and we've all had things that we're like not proud of or whatever. But
that's why I feel
mine have just been online.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I get so like about like cancel culture.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, where is there room for us to be human?
Right.
Like everybody makes a mistake. You're going to look back on
that was my whole thing about Travis Kelce, because I got all because we all know I'm not a Swiftie.
Yeah.
But
she's not a Swiftie, you guys.
Not a Swiftie. But I was like, okay, he yelled at his coach, and if he owns it, we're all human. Yes. Like we all make mistakes. Yeah. I was like, and I'm not saying canceling him. No. I'm just saying that like it's not a good example for youth sports. However,
right.
Like just own it.
Right.
Just own it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And he actually did. I don't know if you watched his podcast.
I did.
And I actually love his brother.
Listen, I am obsessed with his brother. I think he is just such a freaking teddy bear. And just literally you can just like see he has
he's
such a good heart.
He's a good old boy.
Yes.
Like that's always me and my friends like, oh, he's a good old boy.
And I love him for being like, dude, you can't do that. It's never okay.
And he's like, yeah. And I was like,
that's it.
You're cool in my book.
Yes.
Like you're cool in my book.
See, that's what I feel like I can really appreciate about myself. And I don't know about you, but like if I get in a fight with like, let's say Rachel, we have a big blow up, but we apologize and we're like, that was really my bad on that end or her bad.
Yep.
We're over it.
I'm over it.
I literally don't even care. But if you say to me like, but you did this and you did that, and then you come up with all these excuses why you did this, that, and the other thing.
If you are not accountable, I'm going to have a hard time.
Yes, then I can't get over it. I'm a grudge holder at that point, you know?
Same. Like, and I don't like that I hold grudges.
No.
But I'm like, if you cannot be accountable and I'm holding myself accountable.
Yes. Yeah. And as being an 8, I feel like we can be very intense. And
do people say you're intimidating?
Yes.
I get that too.
And I just don't feel like
I don't either. I don't think you're intimidating. No, but I feel like I'm also an 8, so I'm like, whatever.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
But
I've heard that a lot. Everybody growing up told me like, I thought you were mean. And I was like, is it my face that like I just look pissed? But like I can be really intense in a fight.
Botox saves us now because no one ever knows if we're angry or sad.
We just look exactly
the same. Like, I'm really mad right now, but you can't tell.
You can tell in my eyes. Like it's
my nose. I'm just like, I get such a stank face.
But like, I feel like we can get so intense. Yeah. And then after like you think about it, you're like, okay, I'm sorry. I was really intense. Like that was, whatever. And I have no problem being like, yeah, that was my bad.
Yep. I get it.
But if some people don't do that, I'm like, I can't get over it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm like, nope. Yeah. They didn't say sorry. So, I can't move on.
Exactly. Or like, just like, I see your side. This is my side. I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah. I understand. I'm so good at seeing both sides of a argument.
I will say that that's taken me a really long time to get better.
To see. Yeah. I don't think maybe in my 20s I was as good as it.
Oh, I was horrible in my 20s. I would say probably in the last like year or two maybe that I've done better about it. But
okay, so you were a photographer. How did you get in? So you started posting that on Facebook, and then that's when your following kind of started?
Yeah, so I grew a pretty large, I think I like grew to 30,000 followers or something like that, like on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was just a photographer, but we had Michaela, then Evelyn, then Bodie. And then at 2017, I was sick of doing weddings. We talked about it. It's like so stressful. You're there all day. You have no time. You have to edit during the week. And then I was shooting newborns and families during the week too.
Oh, geez.
So it was just a lot. And I was like, I need to earn income, but not like leaving my kids, you know? And so.
Because you're missing the weekends.
And it was really hard. Like I would say too, like I took a dip in the friend group because I was just honestly jealous that they all got to hang out on the weekends together and plan things and do stuff and get the kids together and XYZ.
Yeah.
And I was shooting weddings. Yeah. And I'm not proud of how I acted during that time.
Yeah.
Because I was just really envious. Yeah. And I was like, well, why can't we plan things around when I'm available? I wasn't gone every weekend, but I understand like they had lives too.
Right.
But I didn't understand that because this is where like I didn't see it from their perspective.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just knew I had to make a change. And I knew I liked, like I had a follower message me a while ago and she's like, you are doing exactly what you said you were going to do when you did our newborn photos back in 2017.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really came. Because I told her, I was like, I just want to like vlog and like help women and just kind of just be myself online.
Be relatable.
Yeah. Like that's what, and she's like, you really wanted to do YouTube, which I'm not like, I'm dabbling in YouTube because that's
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And so it's funny how it came full circle. But so 2017, I joined the MLM of Unique.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, this is where I'm like, you know how you get to see, like I displayed I don't regret it because it jump started my career of what I'm doing now. But it was definitely what I call my cringe era.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about makeup. Like, I learned how to do makeup because I watched a lot of tutorials on a lot of things.
Unique, is that the one with the like lip and you like shake it and you like do it on your lips? And it stays.
They were like known for their lashes back then, like the mascara, like the fiber mascara.
Yes. Okay, I
and
remember.
Then it flaked in your eyes.
Yes. I had contacts, and I remember being like, I can't use this.
Like, oh, this isn't working.
Yeah.
But I really, at that time, like Facebook Lives just started, and they, like it was a big deal.
Yep.
And I just got on and started talking and doing my makeup, and then from there, like it just opened and escalated and. You know, here I am like top leader of a company but then I don't know what it was. Like there's been pivotal moments in my career where I'm like, okay, but do I really want this?
Yeah.
And I just knew like morally, like, you know, we talk about morals and integrity and authenticity. I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like the breadwinner and I was laying in bed and I was like talking to my husband. He's like, I think I want to quit Unique. And he's like, what?
Oh my God, this is so weird because I had the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I was really good at it. I did isogenics. It was like protein shakes and like cleansing. And I remember,
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. And I, looking back, am like, I was one of those people being like, hey, I think you would love this. And I'm like, I hate that. I hate that I became that person.
Yep.
But also, it's such a good learning thing for like you as a
well,
person.
You know, here's another thing. I would literally dare to ask everybody, and I bet you every single of their answers, like, have you ever done a job that you didn't want to do?
Yeah.
And that's literally kind of the same thing. Like,
yes.
I knew this isn't what I really wanted to do, but I knew at that time I had to feed my family and I had to do what was right. And I was, again, still trying to find myself. What do I want to do online? How do I want to be online? You know, do I want to be online? Like, have you ever had those thoughts? Like, do I really want to do this?
Sometimes,
you know?
yeah.
So, you know, I had those thoughts. And so 2017, I wrote that. But 2018, I was like, I want another baby.
Yeah.
I want another baby. And at this time, I was transitioning where I actually didn't need to do photography for income anymore. So when you took a break from being a makeup artist, I was like, I know that feeling. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
My creative brain, so like with photography, I love it. And I'm so thankful for that journey. And I miss my clientele.
Yes.
Like I had my regulars and I watched their babies grow up. Yeah. And now when I see them, they're like, their kids are huge. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel old. Yeah. And I like literally one of my best friends, I shot her wedding. That's how I met her. I shot her wedding. And her name, we'll give them a shout out because I love them dearly, but it's Duddy and Mare. And I shot her wedding and I became best friends with her all because of that. Yeah. And now we do everything together. Yeah. And we got pregnant with our kids, Hayes and Emmy, at the same time.
Cute. So yeah.
Anyways, so I'm really thankful for that time, but that lifestyle did not work for kids.
Right.
When you have kids.
Yeah.
And my creative brain was not thriving anymore. And then with Unique, kind of like it just wasn't what I wanted. Yeah. So 2018 though, like I'm telling my husband, I don't want to do Unique anymore. And I also want another baby.
Yeah. He was probably like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. He was like, I think though this was a very pivotal moment. And then, in the mix of this, like 2016, 17, part of 2018, we went through a lot of marriage counseling, really trying to figure things like we almost didn't make it. So that was scary too. So we're like, we're finally coming out of this. Like we're feeling better about our marriage. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like saying, oh, by the way, I don't want to do what is our biggest income for our family. Mm-hmm. And I also want to bring another child into this world.
Yeah.
But that was like, I think I would say, I'll speak for him, like a very pivotal moment for us because he really had to trust me. Yeah. Because I was like the ultimate decider of my career. Right. Right. And I took that risk. And then like with Hayes, like he was like on the fence, I was like, well, I got my IUD out, so good luck. Like that was it. And then we got pregnant. Well, I miscarried, then got pregnant with Hayes. And then it's funny because I jokingly say he wanted Hayes. It's not that he didn't want Hayes, but he was like, what are we going to do? You just quit this, like, right. And I was still doing Unique, but I was talking about I don't want to do Unique anymore. Yeah. When I had Hayes. Yeah. But like I jokingly say, I'm like, you don't even want this kid, and he's attached to you because Hayes and Justin are like this. Cute. Yeah. And I'm like, I kept you.
I was the one.
It was me.
Just so you know.
Yeah. Like I breastfed you for 15 months. Yeah. So anyways, 2019 had Hayes. I think that was big because I documented that pregnancy through and through. Like all the highs and lows. Mm. And then had him. I was still with Unique. Yeah. Knew I didn't want to do it though.
And your online presence is like growing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2020 hit.
Yes.
We all know what happened in 2020.
Yep.
I came out with my political stance and I don't regret it, but it also, it's either people you liked me or you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it. And I think, but at the same time, the people that liked me had a certain respect level for me.
Right.
It was weird. Mm-hmm. And I quit Unique. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm just going to try to do this on my own. Yeah. And then I had some brands that I was like working with. Can't legally talk about it because I signed an NDA. Legally, I'm not going to say the name, but legally I went on this brand trip with this brand and other influencers. And I love, it's the Midwest Mamas. They were like, do you work with Amazon? And at this time I was still okay with the brand. Yeah. And I was like, no, what's that? And they're like, dude, you need to work with Amazon. Yeah. So I was like, as soon as I got back, I dove in. Yeah. So I had a breakup with that brand. Mm-hmm. But if I did not go on that brand trip. Right. I don't know if I ever would have found out where I'm at now because Amazon, we have to make an income. Right. You have to. So that's what kind of, I guess, gave me the confidence of okay, I can do this. I can actually, because you've always kind of, well, I guess you were with an MLM.
Yes, I was.
When did you quit doing that?
Oh my God, I think I did that for almost a year. And then I just literally felt like I just got burnt out. And I remember having the exact same conversation with Ethan. And that was Gray was not even a year yet. So it was like 2015.
We have such similar stories.
Yeah. And I remember telling him like, and it came out of the blue for him. Like I was like, I want to quit. He's like, what?
Do you like fester on stuff for a long time and you've already made up your mind and then you tell someone and then they're like.
I do that to Rachel and Ethan all the time. And they both are like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I've been thinking about it for months.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just going to do it now.
I do that. And then I've already made it my decision. Yep. And then I expect everybody to give me their blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Ethan's like, and it took him a bit, but he was like, I just wasn't happy because I felt like I had to constantly like reach out to people. And if I wasn't reaching out to people.
Did you feel like you're stuck in a box?
Yeah. And I'm like, this is not what I want to do. Yeah. I feel like it almost makes me feel exactly how it feels like working at a job, like working at Sephora. Like I'm stuck in a room and I can't leave for another 8 hours. Yep. And you're like, I feel really confined. Yep. So then I quit doing that. And then I moved on to, I kept doing YouTube. I kept like trucking along, doing whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I just like got a hold of Instagram and I loved it so much because it's like real time updates. Like I can just link it really quickly. Let me tell you, I love this.
Yep. So. And that's kind of like when I quit, like when I kind of started, I don't know, it was like 2021. And granted, like the world was shut down. Everybody was on their phones. Right. So, and I was just sharing my life. Yeah. And just going with it. Mm-hmm. Started, really connecting on Instagram. And then I started dabbling in TikTok. I have like a love-hate relationship with TikTok.
Same.
Like it's
people are,
but Instagram is still one that always is just a steady love. Yes. It's just a steady love.
And it feels like family there. Yeah. Like people who watch you know you.
And they know you. And
TikTok, it's like random. You get these people that comment and you're like, you're an idiot. You don't even know what you saw 5 seconds.
Like, I remember probably the silliest comment I ever got was I had Jordy and we got him this last summer and I put him in the cage and let him out. Well, I showed him in the vlog. I just showed me picking him up in the morning and they're like, do you leave your poor dog outside? I'm like, y'all are so stupid on TikTok.
Yes. They automatically think like
the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were in Miami and the hotel flooded. And I'm not kidding you. My mom literally woke me up like, help. And I have my sleep tape on, my mask.
You got like, gadgets, sister.
Yeah, I do. Sleep. I have my earplugs in my ears. And I was like, you just wake up and you're like, what the frick is happening? Yeah. So then I'm walking and everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're walking in that water with your bare feet.
I know.
And I'm like, that is the last. I'm like, my hotel or my Airbnb is flooding.
You're not thinking. And that's what I guess I get annoyed of people who just drop comments like that. I'm like, have you just not thought for a second that you're not there?
Yeah. Like how would you react? And if you're reacting in the moment, but you're also filming it. Cause I also was like, nobody's going to believe me that there's this much freaking water unless I'm recording it. And I'm like, I have tennis shoes. Like my mom had Lululemon like slides.
Did you get all your stuff wet?
No, my suitcase.
Oh, yeah. But you had a hard shell?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, except the bottom of the one. It was like leather. So I'm not really sure. But she had Lululemon slides on and her feet were still soaked because it was like 2 inches of water. Right. So I'm like, no matter what, my shoes are going to be soaked and it's going to be the same. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just like, I've been to Faster Horses. Faster Horses?
What's that?
Country music festival.
Oh, okay.
And it's like,
I feel like I've heard about that.
I mean, you pee and you do your business in a porta potty.
Yeah.
The whole time for 4 days straight.
My friend, I had my phone in my back pocket one time and it fell in the porta potty. Oh. And she grabbed a garbage bag and she reached
What a blessing of a friend.
I know. She's like, all your photos. I'm like, forget about it. Just there's shit in there. Yeah. She is like, nope, I grabbed it.
That's a true friend.
I know.
That's a true friend.
I know.
But it's like one of those things like when people are like, oh, I'm like, I don't know. I've done grosser things.
Literally, I am like the least germaphobe person you will ever meet. Yeah. There is not anything, like I care less. I have definitely gone to the bathroom outside multiple times.
Yes. I was just telling Ethan, I was like, where's the bathroom? I'm like, I could just pee outside. Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Not a big deal.
Especially, like back in the day when you're
We're going to get so much hate for this.
You're drinking back in the day. And you're like, I'm just going to go pee right here. And you just pop a squat.
Like you just hold on to the tree.
Yes.
Hold on to the tree real quick.
Yeah. And then you're like, I got to drip dry.
And you're like, shimmy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're built different up here in Minnesota.
I mean,
I am not grossed out
it must
by
be
anything.
a Midwest thing because like that's how we are in Michigan.
I'm not, nothing grosses me out. I'm not a germaphobe.
No.
I just really am not.
No.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, did we cover everything?
Yeah. Like here we are. I guess we probably should talk about how we met.
Okay. So the first time we ever met, I feel, did we see each other on TikTok first? I don't even remember how we
So we were in Nashville. We were both in Nashville for Morgan Wallen at the same time. You went to his concert the night before and I was going the next night, but we just got into town and like we were all out at the bars. Did
you guys drive that time? Do you remember?
I think so.
I think you did. You and Miranda, right?
Yeah, I think we drove.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Okay.
That was and that Morgan Wallen concert, I actually went with two friends that I think I met them before. I met Bailey before, but their friend dropped out and they were like, I was like, hey, if you need an extra person,
I'm your girl.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'll fly. So that's how I randomly got invited.
Well, and I knew Bailey from the brand.
Yes,
and
I almost said it. I was like,
the editors had to go bleep, bleep, bleep.
Yeah.
But you knew Bailey and Bailey knew us and I knew you through Instagram.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
But like connection level wasn't 110% there.
Yeah.
And we were out. You just wrapped up the concert. We were out at a bar and we were just like standing around, hanging out.
Yeah.
Literally the first time I saw her, she was doing a handstand in the street. I was like,
nobody's going to be surprised by that.
Yeah. I was like, kind of wish I could do one of those.
Yeah.
So you were doing that. And then like we chit chatted, hung out, whatever. And then you had to fly out the next day. But from there, we started following each other.
Yep.
And then quickly we realized we are a lot alike.
Very similar.
Yes.
Yep.
So, and then we just.
So this is actually technically only the second time we've met.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked about like planning trips together.
Yes.
And doing things like going on a trip with our husbands and doing it like all of our husbands would get along really well.
Yep.
But we're so busy.
So when you guys I was supposed to go to Nashville last year with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nevaeh had her
Yep.
angiogram, which ended up turning into 2 brain surgeries.
I know, I was so bummed.
I was so bummed.
I mean,
too.
I was like totally understood where the situation was at, but I was just like,
oh my God, I was watching you guys like, I'm so sad.
That was a fun trip.
It looked amazing.
It was a wild trip and not on my extent. I literally was telling her, I was like reenacting. I was like, can I just have my coffee cup? And I was like,
what? Tell me more.
Like, give me the tea.
I love that stuff. Like, I'm like,
because when you're just like married,
yeah,
and you're just like you got kids, and you just I'm boring. Like I literally say I'm boring. Everybody's like, you're not boring, but I'm like, I do the same thing every day.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I know. Sometimes I'm like, how do I spice this up? Like, what do we do? I can't. You're literally doing the same thing every day. So am I. Like, you wake up, you take your kids to school, you work out, like,
get some work done, clean up the house, do the dishes, laundry, like blah, 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 and then run a kid to practice or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is literally the second time we met. We really should plan that trip though.
No, we should.
Like it.
And I would absolutely.
It needs to happen.
Let's do a Nashville. I love Nashville.
I do love it. I want to experience Nashville. Like I always feel like I'm always rushed with time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to experience it being rushed with time. I don't know if that exists in my 30s, but
yeah. If you're with Ethan, it's always we're rushed on time.
Right. He's like, we got to be there at noon.
Next place. Yeah. When we go to New York, he's like, okay, here's my itinerary.
I bet you that's great though, having someone for New York. Because I just went to New York, and you definitely have to have a game plan going.
Yeah. You can't, if there's like a lot of things you want to see.
Yeah.
It's like you're seeing it, you're leaving, and you all have to make sure it's on the same side of the street. Otherwise, you're on the other side of New York, and the subway system's holy crap.
Yeah, we were very confused with the subway system.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't like New York.
You didn't like it? I like it only because at heart, sometimes I feel like, I mean, I grew up in the country, so it's like so different.
So
the world is different.
Culturally different.
Well, and the people in New York are just so different also.
Yeah.
I said when I was in Miami, I'm like, Mom, this is like New York, but like they're way more mean in Miami than people in New York. You know how
I've been to Miami. You are 110% correct.
They were.
We're gonna get hate on for this.
I know, but no, everybody was like, "Welcome to Miami," because the guy, he just kind of was like, "Well, it's not my problem" with the whole Airbnb thing, and I'm like, "What kind of manager are you?"
I was really surprised by that.
Oh my God, I was so mad. I was like, Mom, my 8's coming out and me. I don't want to make a scene, but I almost did because I'm like, you are being so rude.
Do you ever get caught where you like, I have to make a scene right now? Like I have to have a and then
I can feel myself, my body.
Yes.
My body
Do you have
radiates.
almost have an out of body experience? And then you have to take
Oh my God, yes.
I literally, I just had this situation.
Yes.
So we were playing softball and I'll say that the umpire made a very poor decision. And
does nothing drive you more nuts than I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because I'll see refs sometimes and I'm like, you are not being fair. I cannot with the not fair. Like if you're going to call that, but you're not going to call that. No.
So do you know how they always say parents are the ones that are ruining you sports? How that's I kind of disagree. I do think there's some over the top parents 110%.
Yeah.
But umpires and refs some days I'm like, oh my Lanta.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah. So you had one that was
so we had one
call.
And it was one of those things where I literally had to step in between and I was like, we are done with this conversation. You can go over there. And I don't know, I don't even know what prompted me to say that.
Yeah.
And then I literally text one of my parents later. I was like, hey, so why did that umpire come over and why did I yell at him? Oh, because I told him he couldn't make that call because there's no box. There's no out of the box for, slapping. And I was like, oh, so that's why he was coming over because he was trying to continue to have this fighting conversation. And that's why I spoke up. But I literally spaced and I'm like, okay, I don't feel that crazy anymore.
It's weird because sometimes when I get really mad, sometimes I almost not black out, but
space.
You're just my whole body takes over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
So
squirrel. Okay. Questions.
Oh yeah. Okay. So a lot of the questions was best and worst thing about being an influencer. And I feel like we could probably we'll do the pros first.
Okay.
Actually, let's start with the cons and then we'll go to the pros.
Cons. Our life is on display for judgment.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
There's sometimes no grace.
Yeah. I think that's why the podcast, and we were kind of talking about this, about I feel like what is shown is such a small snippet of your actual life.
100%.
And so it's really hard when you're wow, I don't agree with her on that. And I'm going to just tell you I don't agree with you. And you're there's so much more.
Right.
And
there's so much more context to that.
But yeah. But it is one of the things that being misunderstood is really hard for me sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
I want to defend myself.
Always. I've learned to walk away from the message box. So
yeah,
I'm just I don't got time.
Yeah. You look at it and you're no.
Because I'll fester on it for a couple hours.
I know.
I'll be so mad.
Rachel will there was one that I got the other day that I just was you know what? Sometimes, most of the time when I get a negative comment, I'm not the one to just speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Jess, she loves, she's
but
yeah.
I'm how can you, but this is where I'm how can you hate, I read her sarcasm and I'm hilarious.
Yes. Cause are you sarcastic also?
Yeah, I'm so sarcastic. So I understand her sarcasm.
Yes.
The one that she just got about her teenager, about the envelope. I was literally laughing, but then she got so much hate and I was like,
oh my God, on TikTok, she had to turn off the comments. She's it's really actually mentally affecting me.
It's wild.
And she's she's because you're being sarcastic online and then people don't read it that way. And they're wow, you're just a terrible mom. You're this, that, and the other thing. Mm-hmm. You're okay. Really, I was making it dramatic for the story's sake, but it's not that serious.
Yeah.
So it is really hard. But messages, I also am the same. Like most of the time I will be nice back because I'm like, there's so much more.
Yeah, so much more. Yeah, I would say that's like the biggest con. I would say too, I don't think people realize how much work this is.
I know. People talk about it all the time and then people get annoyed that, you know, content creators are saying that. Mm-hmm. But it really is, where is the off?
Right. It's hard.
Yeah, it is really hard. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I see something funny and I'm like, oh, I got to get my phone.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I should maybe
calm
down on that.
Like how many videos I don't post, like how much content does not make my vlog every day.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Because I'm like, do I choose anger today? Do I choose controversy?
Yeah.
Nope, I do not.
Yeah. So I don't think I have that much controversy that I like talk about on my Instagram.
I don't know if I like, well, it's just simple stuff like Bodhi have, ADHD. I got so much controversy back or conflict and just like opinions about that. Mm-hmm. And that one really was one of those things where I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You are his mother. Mm-hmm. You know this child in and out, not some stranger on the internet that has seen a 5-second clip of my boy, you know? So I was like, you know that you and Justin are making the correct decision. I see that. Making the correct decision for him, and you know what's right.
I think for me, where I have a hard time is when I'm with Nevaeh having a stroke and diabetes, and a lot of people, I almost am like, do you think I'm dumb? That's how I feel sometimes, because they'll be like, did you check this?
Oh, yeah.
Did you make sure that? Did you have your doctor check this? I'm like, you guys, she has a team.
Yeah.
She has a stroke doctor, a diabetes doctor, and a blood doctor. Like, there's so many things that aren't set. I can't say everything that we go through with her because, oh my God, nobody wants to hear all of it.
Right.
There's a lot. So
I get that. It's
really
like
hard
it's like
when it comes to that.
Unwanted advice, and they're like, but like I had a video sent to me the other day, and they're like, maybe you should try this natural route for Bodhi's ADHD medication. And I'm like,
oh my God, listen, I get.
Or did you try cutting red dye 40? I was like, yes. And like, did you try? Yes. And then I'm just like, I don't need to go through your checklist.
No.
You know,
I cringe every time I read somebody say, did you try this diet with Nevaeh?
Yeah. And I try to think that they're just coming from a good place.
They are. Yeah. They really they are doing it, and that's where when I start to be like, okay, I'm not mad. I understand, but then I'm like, I it's like I immediately am like, we've tried everything and it's not that. So, but it's they care.
They care.
So they're trying to help. And I think a lot of people want to just help.
Yeah, they just want to help. And this is like the con, because it's like, I understand you want to help, but I'm like really aggravated that you think I'm stupid enough to not know that.
Yes. Yes.
You know, but they're trying to help.
Especially when it comes to medical things, it's not black and white.
No.
Like,
no, and there's this world's so controversial about medical things, right?
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh, big pharma is bad, this and that, but I'm like, dude, we need modern day medicine. You do realize that.
The way that I'm so thankful for modern day medicine, like Nevaeh would not be alive if that man never invented insulin.
Right.
No matter if she's on a no carb diet or not, she still needs insulin to live, like we all do.
Right.
But her pancreas just doesn't work. And so if that never happened, I'm like, Nevaeh would not be alive.
Right.
And a lot of people have type 1, a lot of kids, a lot of moms, a lot of whatever. And then we have our Dexcom where I can read her numbers constantly. I'm like, I'm just so thankful for it.
Right.
So, and the pros. I think there's so many pros.
This right here.
Yes.
This is a pro.
This is a pro.
So our industries, like our job is strange. We have strange jobs, and not everybody understands it except the people that are in it, and they totally get it. And you need those people in your life.
You absolutely do.
Yeah.
Like
you need those people in your life,
because it's like you can help if somebody's frustrated about something, like Jess was the other day with the video. And she's like, I think I should just turn it off. And we're like, for your mental sake,
I had to do that recently to a video. I made one with Ev, like sitting at her vanity. And I was like, I just don't like the stigmatism of like kids, right? Or like 11-year-old, 10-year-old girls, like that they are into skincare. Listen, I wish I was into skincare
So
that
do
young.
I.
Like,
I didn't start till I was 30.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And I wish I would have taken my skincare more seriously. And she's really into it. And like, Eva's just like, there's times where I'm like, gosh, like, how did I get so lucky? Because this kid's just responsible and she's getting good grades. Like, she tries her hardest at everything. And it was just like one of those, like, you know, as a mom, I was like super proud of her.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like how the Sephora kid, you know, the Sephora girl's getting hated on. And I was like, and I got ripped to pieces over that video. And it was almost laughable. Like, again, the comments were laughable.
Yeah.
But I actually deleted it because I took it into perspective. Like, I had no idea this video existed.
Yeah.
But I was like, but what if one day she does? And like, how would she feel about it?
Like,
and
reading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I deleted that video. And sometimes you just have to do it for your mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it really can affect you, even though you know that, like, logically, you're like, I don't know these people. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But really, it's like in your gut, like, they're saying I'm a bad mom. And that's already every mom's, like, worst fear is being a bad mom.
Well, this is like my whole new thing. Like, there's no manual to motherhood.
No.
And I'm like, that's my big, like, put my foot on the ground. Like, in my vlogs, I'm like, there's no manual to motherhood. We're all literally surviving.
Yeah. Even my mom, like, being the mom that she is, like, her mom she had a stepmom who was terrible to her. Like, terrible. And she raised us to be amazing humans.
Yeah.
And even now, like, of us in our 30s and my sister almost in her 40s, like, it's just a different, like, motherhood.
Yeah.
Of being a grandma.
Well,
like,
it's just different generations of raising kids. And like, like this whole, like, oh, my kid doesn't get screen time. I'm like, cool. Mine was on it for 2 hours today.
Yeah.
Like, you do you, I'm going to do me.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
And that's where I think where I'm very good at being like, that it's your family. It's your kid. If you like, I don't know, let's say you like this, like, frilly dress. And I'm like, I would never wear that, but it looks cute on you. There's no wrong way.
There's no wrong way.
What?
No, there's no wrong way. Like, there's no manual to motherhood. There's no manual to, like, how you're supposed to be online or whatever.
Yeah. And everybody does it differently. And I think, like, I love watching you because you just share whatever. You're relatable. You have your kids in it. You have your dogs in it. Your house is a mess. My house is a mess.
That's what.
Even though Ethan's
like, I'm clean. I'm like, like, does he see my vlogs on the wild animals?
He literally was like cleaning the carpet, like makeup. Like, she's
like,
not gonna look at anything.
It's not gonna stick out my brain at all.
Yeah.
So, but pros, we get to, this industry is pretty cool. We get to meet new people. We get to go, like, I have taken a step back from the traveling as I'm in Minnesota, but like, I decided, like, my kids and my sport, they're sporting events, and like, my family is priority. I don't care about brand trips. I don't care about any of that anymore. Because again, I literally asked myself, like, what do I want to bring to the table?
Yeah.
What do I want people to feel when they come to my platform? And it literally was like, I said, I want them to feel like we're having coffee together.
Yes.
And that we are the same.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like, here's my big fancy house. Here's this, here's that. Like, and it's not anything against the influencing culture. It's just, that's not even me. Like, I'm a small town girl.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's cool though, that we get to like experience the different cultures, like going to New York City and all that stuff. But that stuff, like, I've focused on with and I think that's why we click so much, is because our lifestyles are so similar. Like, even the town here, I was like, okay, this is just like my town back home.
Yeah. And I feel the same way. Like, we were talking about, like, even celebrities in my mind, they're people.
They're people.
Nobody's going to make my heart, well, unless it was Chris Hemsworth. I will lose my shit. He's so adorable. But other than that, like, at the end of the day, these people are people.
They're people. We're all human.
Just like we are. Yeah. And so, like, if you're talking to me, you get treated with the same respect as somebody who's
right. Oh, like, if you're
anybody.
I don't care who you are. Like, if you're not a respectful human, I'm like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do not care who you are.
Yeah. And I was telling my mom when we were in Miami, like one of my he was my old manager and I met with him or whatever. He was like, I can get you into any of these places in the restaurant or whatever. And what I don't like about that is that then I am treated differently.
Yeah.
But like me going to Miami and having that guy be like, I don't really care what your problem is. Like, I don't care that your whole apartment is flooded. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he knew I was staying there for free, which I wasn't at all, that I would be treated differently. And I don't like that. I can't give a good recommendation to somebody if they go, we know who you are.
So this isn't anything about brand collabs. I know there's a lot of influencers that do brand collabs and actually love the product.
Yes.
But that's why I can't do them.
Yes.
Because you get sent a, like, I have to like use the product, love it, see a difference or see a change in my life in somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, now I can talk about it.
Right. See, and I do brand collabs, but I am
you
so
use the product.
picky. Yes.
Yeah.
And I am never doing a product if I'm like, I didn't like it.
Right.
Like I had a hair one and they're like, oh, we would love to have you. I'm like, sorry, it's too thick.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I can't do it.
And there's a lot of, one of the things that I'm like, people don't see is all the emails in between.
Oh,
being
so
like,
many emails.
We want to work with you. We want to do this. We'll send you that. And I've tried, I have a pile here. And I've tried stuff and I don't like it. And I only share things. I can't in my gut recommend anything unless.
And I think that's why we click so much because but I can truly see through some stuff where I'm like, they don't even use
Bitch, don't tell me you're using L'Oreal.
Like, no.
Okay, one of the other questions was your relationship with your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Have you always been really close with him?
Yeah.
Like growing up?
So I don't even want to get emotional. And again, right? Like us eights are not emotional.
There are certain subjects.
Yep. My dad's one of them.
I could be like immediate tears. So
I've been close to my dad.
Yeah.
So my mom was I was a really colicky baby.
So was I.
Oh my gosh.
So my mom tells me that all the time.
My mom's like, your dad would come home from work and I was dealing with you all day and you would not stop crying. And then your dad would come home from work and he would immediately hold you and stop crying. Oh. And so I've like always been a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
So my dad coached me growing up from like literally since I started playing softball.
Yeah.
Throughout like many years. Like even people, and he coached at our hometown. He coached there for like 10 years. But he has like 20 plus years of coaching softball.
Yeah.
And like I will get people that like follow me that he's coach and like your dad was the best coach. Like I get it all the time and it's literally the best. Or they played against him. And I got two younger sisters too. So and my youngest sister's 8 years younger than me.
Oh,
so
wow.
He had like a whole coaching experience there too. So and I get like people like, yeah, we played against your dad when he was coaching and he's like literally the best coach.
Yeah.
So my dad actually has like a high school diploma. And I wouldn't say like he had a rough upbringing, but like his dad was an alcoholic. Yeah. And then like just divorce and like, not, good stuff. And my mom actually lost her parents. She lost her dad when she was 4. Wow. Lost her mom when she was 13.
Oh my God.
So like, I'm just like very blessed that my parents, one, are still together and then
are still here.
Yeah. And just, I'm just really blessed for this like period of time that I get to coach for my dad. Yeah. But like he has a high school diploma, but he's had a business since 1993 and it's been successful. Yeah. And like, he's the smartest like there's things where I'm like, dude, you're so smart. Yeah. Just business wise. And like, he just always has like really good advice, even like life advice. He just has like, and he can retell a story in like the best way. And I'm always like, well, squirrel this, squirrel that, and like come back. Yeah. But like just coaching, like to learn from him as a player. And then now I step in and now I'm a coach. Yeah. I'm like relearning the game all over again, but in an adult perspective and as a coach. So a different position. Yeah. And it's been
and then to your kid.
Oh, and it's been a blessing. Yeah. Just to watch him coach Evelyn, because again, I'm an adult, I'm not a child. Right. As an adult, to watch him coach my do
you ever like watch him coach her and you're like,
I just step back like
like I would
sometimes like I just had like pictures and I posted a video. I like posted a TikTok and literally was like bawling posting this like video. Yeah. But like there's so many moments where I just sit back and watch him coach her or just like watch him coach in general and I'm just like, these girls have no idea how good I got it right now, you know, because he can see things that happen in the game in a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
And like, not guess, but kind of predictive, like what we have to do and like changes we have to play, you know, whether we got to pull a pitcher or pull or, you know, bunt or whatever, you know, like game perspective. And I'm just like, he's so good. Yeah. He's so dang good.
It's funny. So. Like me growing up, now, like I'm really close with my mom. Yeah. But I also like as a kid, I was like a tomboy.
Same.
I was a gymnast and I was climbing trees.
Were you like full face makeup, hair done, but then in athletic clothes all the time?
No, I never really got into makeup until I was like after high school.
I would say the same for me.
Like I started watching
But I was like a girly girl. Like
yes.
My mom was like buying us Estee Lauder when we were younger.
Oh my gosh. No, I was like full on like boy jeans, a big baggy t-shirt, a bun. Like I was not, my sister was like she would play Barbies and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go climb a tree.
Same. I was like, no.
That's how I broke my arm. I like climbed a tree and I jumped to another tree and I missed it and I broke my arm. But I was always in the garage with my dad or he would take me to work with him. And we would go and I'd sit in his truck and he would go to like homeowners' houses. And,
well, like the joke for me is I can't cook.
Yeah.
At all.
No, me neither.
Like I try, but I'm just not really good at it.
No.
And my husband will like kind of make fun of me a little bit. Not in like a mean way, but make fun of me. And my dad's like, one time he's like, she's not going to know how to cook. She grew up on a ball field.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like I grew up on a ball field.
My mom is such a good cook. And I'm like, how do you just
My
do
mom
that?
too.
Like, she's like, I just made it up. I'm like, what do you mean you just made, how do you do that? Yeah. I don't, but Ethan does it. And I'm like, how do you, it's amazing.
Justin's a great cook.
Thank God.
For men.
For men who cook. Like,
I always feel like I'm a very independent woman, but I need my husband to travel and I need him to cook.
Yes. And clean my house.
It sounds like so. Is there any other questions or like all the same?
They're all the same. Basically pros and cons and that people love you.
Oh. Well.
Like, oh my God, how did you meet? Which is a lot of them too.
Yeah.
And like growing up, did you think this was your dream job? Or what was your dream job growing up?
I wanted to be a model. I went to modeling school when I was younger.
What?
Well, I'm 5'11".
I was going to say, you're tall.
So my mom's like, she's tall. She should be a model.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to be an actress. But like,
I could totally see you doing that.
I thought it was like so fun and cool. And I used to record myself all the time with the camcorder. With the flip.
Oh yeah. But if you think about it, like you wanted to be an actress, I want to be a model, and like somehow we have this career. So that's kind of like what I think about with like, oh, I was the yearbook editor and I took photos. Yeah. And then like I was into sports. Well, now I kind of do the same thing. Like I do my vlogging and like do my thing online.
Everything.
And I coach softball.
Yeah.
So
it's so cool. Okay, well, tell everybody your Instagram name if they don't already follow you and your TikTok, and then
everything's Trisha Hyde.
Trisha Hyde.
We kept it real simple.
HYDE.
Yeah.
So if you look her up, follow her. She's amazing. If you like me, you're gonna like her. And if you don't follow, I mean, you probably do, but
I don't know. Our worlds like cross.
Yeah,
our worlds cross. Like my people, like when I said I was gonna hang out with you. Or like when I went, is it Pompeii, by the way, the pizza?
Pompeii. Yeah, did you say Pompeii?
I don't know.
It's okay.
Listen, I have a speech impediment.
It's okay.
I have a lisp, a natural lisp.
It happens.
But when I was like, yeah, court like recommended, they're like, I love you guys. I'm like, well, we're like, I told you, my assistant Rebecca's like, she's like, I am picky on who I follow, and I love Courtney.
Oh my God, I love that. Did you like Pompeii, by the way? Did everybody love it?
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Best piece I've ever had.
Yes! I was like low-key a little nervous. Like, oh my God, what if they don't like it?
Well, you know how like
love it.
Everybody's like, oh no, this is the best pizza.
Yes.
This is the best.
Yes.
And then you try it and you're like,
it's really
and your expectations are like disappointing, you know?
Yeah.
No, it literally is the best pizza.
Yes. Francesca's Glaze, they like won an award on it. It's just a small town pizza thing.
Well, that's what everybody's like, well, I'm going to get this because they, have an award for that. Or I'm going to get this because, so all the boys or whatever. And the boys they're like, they love McDonald's and like really shitty food.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, the townie recommended here. So this is where we're going to go, boys.
It's like our treasure. Like, I freaking love that place. But
yeah, it's really, really, really good. Well, my girlfriends from back home love you. They love you and Rachel's friendship, which I think is very special.
Yes, it is. I'm very blessed, and we talk about you like she's like, well, Trisha recommended these flares. I think you're wearing
she's tall.
No, she's tall. She can't take recommendations from me because
it's hard.
You know, I'm 5'5".
Yeah, it's hard.
You know, so tall girls do have a harder time finding long pants.
Man, we got like I have straight up PTSD from trying to find pants that are long enough. And you you get so excited, you're like, never mind, they're too short.
And then she's like, these people with these like, you know, this. She's like, I can't wear that. I'm taller than Josh with them on.
See, I still wear mine. I brought mine actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I still wear mine.
But Josh is like a little bit taller than her.
Justin's like 6'1", 6'2". So he's.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's got a couple inches.
I suppose. Okay, that's good. Yeah. I didn't know.
He's got a couple inches. I wouldn't marry like a guy shorter than me.
I know. That would be hard.
Yeah, like
that would be hard.
But now I do wear like if I put heels on, I am taller than him. I used to be embarrassed by my height. Yeah. It was part of my insecurity. But now I'm like
rock it.
With my heels, if I wear heels because I don't dress up. Like I have to like so I'm wearing casual clothes because that's all I wear anyways.
I know. I mean me too. Same. Like I'm wearing jeans and a bodysuit. What's new?
I don't.
Or a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I gotta bring Trisha to the race park. What is it called?
ERX. Park. She's my Uber for the weekend.
I am. I'm like, I'll pick you up. It's fine.
I was like so happy you said you'd take me to the airport.
Oh heck yeah.
I was almost literally gonna give up my first class seat on my way back home to ride with these men in an 11-hour drive.
Ugh. Well, I'm glad you did it. I got you. I'll drive you.
I really appreciate it. So
no problem. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. See you guys.
See ya.